welcome back to TGTV, and more specifically, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to my car park, and even more specifically than that, the F12. I thought I would update you all that the F12 is alive and well. There we go. I'm going to get in the F12 actually. I'm going to talk to you about something actually. To set the scene, this is the evening before I go up north. Ooh, Christ, nearly opened the door and something. That is not good. I never do that. This is the evening before I go up north and involve myself in something very exciting, slightly depressing. You will probably know what that is already by now, but I want to introduce this video with something that I talked about a little while ago. I get so many questions on this topic, and the response to the last time I spoke about this was absolutely mental. So you will no doubt remember that I mentioned something called Skillshare. Skillshare is a website where you can train yourself up in about 1,000 different topics. I don't know whether that number's accurate, but there's so many topics on there, it's absolutely mental. Where does that come in to you guys and girls? Well, first and foremost, I get asked non-stop, TG, do you edit your videos? Who edits your videos? Blah, blah, blah. I now edit them myself. As many of you will know, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm not very bright either. I don't pick things up that quickly, especially tech-wise, because I'm actually quite old. But I learned to edit on Skillshare. It's really, really good. So if you are looking to get into YouTube, video editing, photo editing, logo design, even accounting, whatever it is you actually want to get into, not just YouTube, not everyone wants to be a YouTuber, wouldn't recommend it. Go and get involved on Skillshare. They're offering a 2-month free trial. And the last time I put this out on my channel, it went absolutely ballistic. 2 months for free by using the special link below. It's a very unique link. I'm going to put it in below right now. It's going to be in the description, and I'll put it in the pinned comment as well. So make sure you go and check that out. But yeah, you can just learn a load of free skills on there. Really, really cool. It's got video tutorials, all the rest of it. Really, really cool. I'm absolutely sweating here. This is unpleasant, ladies and gents. I'm really sorry about this. But yeah, it's a really cool offer. And if you want to learn any new skills, not just the ones that I've mentioned, go and check it out. The link is below anyway, and there is a 2-month free trial, and that will not last forever. So if you don't do it now, I don't know when it's going to end. There's a kind of a limited amount of people that are going to be able to get onto that. So hit it quickly, get in the pot, and 2 months for free. Enjoy, happy editing, and without further ado, it's time to pick this up tomorrow, which will be now for you. Editing. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to TGTV, and more specifically, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to somewhere where I've not been for a long, long time. We are today at Redline Specialist Cars. This is not the only video I'm filming on this trip. You probably know by now why I'm at Redline, but whilst I was here, I thought I'd take an opportunity to field one of those popular questions I get asked on my channel and Instagram and Twitter and all the rest of it, DMs, emails, all of the rest of it. It is about car finance. I want to address car finance properly once and for all. I've touched on it here and there on my channel, and I wanted to go into it properly and just fully address it, because I feel like it's a bit of a dirty word to some people, financing cars. It's something that not everyone agrees with. Everyone's got an opinion on it. There's a lot of kind of myths, mistruths, and you can get stung very, very easily on car finance. It's something I've become almost a pro at over the past few years. Pro is probably not the right word, because I'm buying far too many cars and it's getting pretty silly, but it's something I've become very familiar with anyway. And I've got some experts on hand who will be discussing car finance with me. We'll be going out in a very special car, and at this point I am segueing over here. We are going out in this GTC4Lusso, and I'm going to put said experts in the car, or maybe said expert, we'll see how many we can get together. I've got Darren Gibson on the channel, the guy behind all of my cars, the guy that funds all of my cars, and I don't mean he personally puts the money behind them. He is the broker that brokes into the fund that lends on my cars. We will explain that whole kind of relationship and how that works and how you actually go about these sorts of things, or how I go about these sorts of things. You're more than welcome to do whatever you like. This is going to be an educational video. This is not going to be a sell for anything. But anyway, we're going to get in this Lusso, and I want to talk to you about this Lusso actually, because it's sick. This then is a very special Lusso indeed. You'll notice right away that the paint is incredible. This is Rosso Fuoco, and personally I think this is probably one of the nicest paints that Ferrari make. Yes, obviously satin blue electrico is very, very nice, but in terms of gloss paint, this is a triple layered paint, and you would be able to tell if the sun was out. Obviously the sun is out here all the time in Harrogate, but it's not today. But this is a triple layer paint, and this stands in for about 16k for the paint alone. Coming around the side of the car then, you'll notice that these carbon side blades are optioned. This is for sale, by the way, here at Redline. So if you are interested and you want a Lusso, I've looked at the market. This is actually the nicest one available. So if you are in the market for a Lusso, get yourself down here. Anyway, I got distracted. Satin grey wheels, very, very cool option. Yellow calipers, which sets off the whole historic theme quite well. They've obviously got the Scuderia shields because it's not a Ferrari unless you have those. Coming around the car then, you see the paint, it's so nice. I don't know if that's coming across in camera, but there's so much depth to the paint. It's like a dark candy red. Really, really nice special order paint. On the top of the car then, you've got this massive panoramic roof, which is a complete sheet of glass. Coming in the car then, we've got a number of different things. We've got passenger display on this side. I don't know if that turns on when you're not. No, it doesn't. We've got passenger display there. Full carbon, everything. All of this is carbon. Central bridge there. Massive new touchscreen there, which works really, really well. Surprising for Ferrari. Daytona seats, which are key goods. Red stitching, branding pack on the headrest, and this massive panoramic roof. So sick in here. I actually want this. And then the new design Ferrari steering wheel there with carbon panels and LEDs on the steering wheel with shift lights. Sick. Absolutely sick. Oh, it's got the uprated hi-fi as well. Pretty much the perfect spec. And yes, this is a Lusso T, as you will have seen on the dash then. I want to address the Lusso T thing actually. Having driven both V12 and V8 varieties of the Lusso, bizarrely and surprisingly, I'm actually more fond of the Lusso T. It's a lot lighter car, it's got a lot more torque because of the turbos, and it's got the same engine essentially, give or take, and I know you're going to shout at me, it's got the same engine essentially as the Pista. It's very definitely got the same engine in it as the standard 488 GTB. That means it produces a hell of a lot of torque, it's extremely punchy, and it's a lot lighter because it doesn't have the four-wheel drive system either. As a driver's car that you can put your kids in, and it's going to scare the life out of you, and rear-wheel drive obviously being a bit more playful, this car is the one to have. When it first came out, I was like, Lusso T, what on earth's that for? But it does make a very, very good case for itself, and I would actually, if I was buying one, probably get the Lusso T over the V12 variety, especially as I've got the F12. This is very nice actually, very, very nice. My head has been turned. This is just coming to stock here at Redline, so I may make some inquiries, but feel free to try and beat me to it. We've got Darren, my finance guy, over there looking very nervous. I'm looking around cars, Darren.
Please go home immediately.
So what we're doing, have I told you about this? Hello, welcome back to the channel.
Hello.
This is Darren, everyone. This is my finance guy, and we will be talking to him because he is in the know. He knows all about car finance, and he's going to be answering loads and loads of questions on that very topic.
I'll try.
We're going out in the Lusso.
Yep.
And we'll try and shove Dean in the back. Dean's in the background there, Mr. Dean Redline. We'll shove him in the back and we'll go for a little quick chat, and we'll hopefully address absolutely everything. And if you haven't had your question answered, leave a comment with your question and I will get back to you in the comments because I'm very interactive like that. I enjoy it. So without further ado, let's go. Time then to chuck luggage into the GTC. There we go. Plenty of room. Look at it through there. Look at it just through there. Massive old boot on it. And that's quite cool as well. That comes with the car. I think that's a few £100 worth. Very, very nice. Okay then. Nicely does it. In we go then. Into the Lusso T. And in with Mr. Gibson. We can turn this off now because we are on the GoPro.
Yes.
We're now looking at camera 2 over here.
Camera 2.
Right.
I'm not used to this. Not used to this.
Mr. Dean is there as well.
Bye.
Bye, mate. So Dean is very, very busy, making deals, selling cars, being the very busy guy that he is. So let's fire up. I like this car. Let's get that radio off. How do we turn that down? This new interface is really, really sick actually. Really nice. And you notice how light an area it is in here, Darren? Right then, let's head off and let's address all things finance. And I'm going to go through the golden question on everyone's lips. How much do I pay every single month for my cars? Because everyone wants to know. I have to cut that out. 3,000 revs, valves open. This actually sounds very, very similar to my Pista. Rather cool. So then let's start with the basics. Darren here, I've already said you broke into various lenders, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And you get inundated on Instagram, people asking you, I want to buy this car, how much is it a month?
Correct, yeah.
That's what you get. You just get people saying, how much is this a month?
That's right.
That's all they want to know off the
right.
bat. Just doesn't work like that, and it's the same fundamentals. It's asset finance, the same as buying a house, same as financing, well, I was going to say a watch, but that's not really a thing. It's the same thing. So, first and foremost then, if you want to go and get car finance, are there any prerequisites? Is there anything that you absolutely have to have your ducks in a row on for you to get car finance?
Absolutely, yeah. So ultimately you need to have a pretty good credit history. No lender is going to consider lending you any money for a car or any asset for that matter unless you have a pretty decent credit history. And by that, you know, they want to make sure that you've been in your job role for a sensible amount of time. If you're self-employed, that you've had your company running for a couple of years, that you've filed your company accounts, and that, you know, that your business is doing well. So they will look into all of that aspect when making a credit decision.
Yeah, that's one thing I get asked a lot as well. People say, you know, and many people are these days, they're either a contractor or you have your own business and you don't necessarily draw everything that you can out of your company into your personal accounts. That doesn't necessarily make a difference, does it?
Yes and no. So if you're not drawing enough from your business, again, the affordability, and the lenders have to ultimately look into the affordability for you so that they are, you know, lending on an appropriate basis, because ultimately you have to be able to afford the monthly payments comfortably on your car. So they look at all aspects of affordability. One of the key things that comes into it, Tom, is whether or not you're a homeowner. So a lot of clients ring me up and say, look, I want this car, how much is it? Well, my first question is, you know, well, we need to understand your financial circumstances firstly, which is personal and different to every individual. No two clients are the same, even though the vehicles may be the same. So if you're a homeowner, some of the top lenders will consider you with a 10% deposit. Whereas if you're not a homeowner, a lot of the lenders will require at least 15 to 20% before they'll consider lending.
So 10% deposit on a 200 grand Hurricane Performante, 10% is obviously 20 grand down, and then 15% is obviously
30.
more than, well, there we go. So you can say you're the breaker, I can't count.
No.
Terrifying,
That's
really.
probably wrong. But that's one of the key things. A lot of people don't realise that, and a lot of people say, look, I want to buy this car, but I want to put in as little as possible and have as low a monthly as possible and have a bigger balloon as possible. And very often I tell my clients, well, look, that's the unicorn deal. It doesn't really exist. Age also comes into it. The lenders, you know, I had a client come to me this morning, in fact, looking to buy a £100,000 car. Individual, relatively young, is only 22. You know, had sensible income. But when it comes to insurance on the car, that again is a factor. When it comes to experience of driving high performance vehicles, again, the lenders want to know that, you know, it's appropriate. You can handle a car that can do, you know, supercar speeds.
I think it's helpful at this stage as well to think from the fund's perspective. If you were a fund and you had a big pot of money, who would you lend money to? They'll be looking to the same things that you would be looking at. If you said to someone, here's 3 million quid, you've got to lend some of it out, get a nice rate of interest on it, get a nice return on it, but who are you going to lend to be safe? They're going to be thinking along the same lines as exactly you would be thinking along the lines of. They are a business, they need to keep their money safe, and they're also bound by very tight regulations, the FCA, sensible lending criteria, or responsible lending, sorry. So there are lots of hoops to jump through. It's not just a case of, I earn £5 grand a month, so therefore I can afford £3 grand a month on a car. If you've only been earning that for 3 months, then that's not going to help. There are loads and loads of things, basically. So if someone comes to you for a quote, or anyone else for that matter, what kind of information is it helpful to have?
Yes, so clearly, ideally, if the client has locked down on a car, so we know the exact make, brand, model, derivative of the car. Let's take a Porsche GT3, for example. If they have the registration plate for the car and they have the mileage for the car, that's very helpful, because I can immediately base the application on the exact car they're interested in. And we can always play around with the price of the car. We can always play around with the price of the car, depending on the negotiation. But yeah, it really comes down to, who are you as an individual, what is sensible in terms of your gross annual income, which has to be proven quite carefully with the lenders. They look for exact proof of income, as you'd expect.
Bank statements, accountant letters.
Yeah, bank statements, accountant letters, tax returns,
employment
P60s.
contracts.
Yep.
Everything like that you can put together to give to a broker.
Yeah.
That's going to help you out. It's no use saying, oh, I earn this month, just believe me, they won't. It has to go to an underwriter, they have to look at it all.
Exactly. And what I try to do with my clients, and people say to me, Darren, why is your finance, or the finance you arrange and broke, why is that better than everyone else's? First thing I tell them is, it's not. What I genuinely try to do is I put them into the right product for them, which suits their overall ownership objectives.
Yep.
So if a client says to me, look, I say, how long do you want to fund the car across? 9 times out of 10, they'll say 48 months. But then they'll say in the next breath, well, I'm only going to keep it 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
So I immediately tell my clients, look, don't fund it over 48 months, because you will ultimately then have to pay larger exit fees when you come to settle early. So by doing that, and by putting them in a 24-month deal, ultimately then when they come to exit the vehicle, we can help minimize any exit fees. And then when you take the various financial products out there, whether it's PCP, lease purchase with balloon, or hire purchase, there are exit fees across all products.
That's something to look out for. You'll see regulated and unregulated deals. Regulated deals generally is 28 days worth of interest that you pay to get out.
Well, again, it varies significantly from lender to lender.
Yeah.
From manufacturers' finance is all different to the private lender's finance. So the key thing, regardless of whatever financial product you end up taking for the vehicle, is you must read every page of the terms and conditions and understand exactly what you're,
especially those exit fees.
Yeah, and the exit fees,
they can be pretty aggressive, so make sure you definitely do it. And if you're not good with documents like that and you find it all a little bit boring and goes over your head, give it to someone that reads documents like that for a living, or it's just a bit more on it, because that can make the difference between you being stung for tens of thousands or not.
Well, it's not so much tens of thousands, because they're all pretty much muchness. That's one thing, but historically that was the case. That was the case historically. A lot of people would buy cars and then they'd be stung for massive exit fees. But the Financial Conduct Authority, rightly so, tightened up on all of that.
Yeah.
And they made it much more stringent now. So the lenders must treat their clients fairly and be seen to be treating them fairly.
Yeah.
Which is only right.
Great. Fine then, right, should we get on to the grit and the kind of why people are here? Because they're here to be nosy about how much my cars are costing me.
Yeah.
So you fund, it's fair to say, maybe 80% of my cars.
That's right, yeah.
There's one or two cars, there's a car on a lease, there's the i3S, which is funded differently, and there is the Defender, which was funded years ago with a different lender, blah, 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 blah. Actually, I funded them with a lender that did 2 of my mortgages, so we reached a kind of exposure limit there as well. That's another point as well. You can't borrow too much money with one lender, because they'll tell you to go away, or they'll just start making it prohibitively expensive for you because they don't want the business, which is fine. And we've had a bit, I actually get more stringent requirements now on my finance, because I've got so many finance agreements. So it's actually harder for me to obtain finance now, which makes your life interesting.
Yeah, the key thing, without divulging any of your own personal circumstances on it, Tom, clearly, you have an impeccable credit file. You work extremely hard, and the lender has gone through all of your personal circumstances to be comfortable with lending to you for the assets that you buy. Clearly, you are buying the best of the best in terms of cars. And it's a long-term relationship with both myself and the lender. And the longer the term relationship, the better it is then in terms of the lender understanding the intricacies of you as a client and as a credit, and it's trust. So there's a hell of a lot of that, and it does come into it, and it's kind of going back to the old-fashioned days of merchant banking, whereby the lender wants to know who you are, get to know you, build a relationship. I get a lot of clients who will try to chop year in, year out from different marks, finance packages, whether it be with the manufacturer's finance or to alternative brokers or to direct lenders, and they have to start again every time.
Yeah.
I get repeat business repeatedly from my clients who are doing 4, 5, 6 cars with me and the lender we work with.
Yeah.
And you know, I know my client very well.
Yeah.
The lender knows the client very well. You have the payment history. There's never been any issues. There's never been any late payments. There's never been any defaults or any kind of
Not even close, to be fair. Those have been absolutely plain sailing. So the lender now knows me. So it's like, as I said, going back to if you were lending people money, the better you know someone, the more likely you are to lend them cash, and the more you understand their income. Because these days, especially, not everyone's income is just PAYE. Mine certainly isn't. It's not just here's my salary, off we go.
Yeah.
It's chaos. But once the lender understands that, you're in. So where there's a will, there is a way on that. So then, I've previously mentioned my monthly payments. I mentioned on the SV that it's over £3,000 a month. I don't actually know specifically what it is. But in terms of my monthly payments, my SV is over £3,000 a month. My Pista is about 2,700 thereabouts, which you funded.
Yes. Yeah.
My Aston, I'd say it's about £800 a month. I keep forgetting cars. This is horrible.
Your 911T.
It's 600-700 maybe, something like that.
Yeah. Your
F12.
F12.
It's about 2.5.
Yeah.
I actually did that one. I'll be totally honest, because this isn't a sales pitch. I did that one with Ferrari Finance. It was easier, and sometimes with Ferrari they might spin you a yarn about you'll get preferential treatment. I bought into that, and I don't think it's necessarily true. I don't think I needed to take that out. Just at the time, it was going to be a lot easier to get the deal through with Ferrari Finance. And I spoke to Darren, and he said we'd be able to beat that, but not by much. So I was like, sod it, I'll just go with Ferrari Finance that time. If I had more time on my hands and I didn't rush it through like a child, I probably would have just gone through Darren.
It also left us headroom and capacity to work on the next vehicles like the Pista. Clearly we had the SV on there. We also had your 911T on there, and we had your classic Porsche as well, the 996
Aston.
And the Aston. So
forget about that one.
We should have had a list of these.
Forget about that guy. I know. I need a list printed out on here so I don't forget them, because people are like, how can you forget this car? Well, I forget what I ate for breakfast. So I would say per month then, in total, finance-wise, it must be nudging 10 grand a month quite happily, just in car finance.
Easily.
I don't add it up because it stresses me out. And then in terms of storage every month as well, I get asked so much about where I park my cars and blah blah blah. That I would say in terms of storage, insurance and everything together, it's probably costing me 12-13 grand a month quite happily. I say quite happily, obviously.
That's conservative,
Conservative. It's probably nudging 15 by the time I build everything into it. Because again, insurance is not something I skimp on. Petrol, you name it, servicing like the SV service. Yeah, cars are costing me easily 15 grand a month. So, and then I'm putting, with my kind of credit file, I'm putting down, I would say 12-13% on the cars. And then recently with the Pista, actually, that was quite a big deal on top of everything else, and my exposure started nudging £1 million. It started meaning that I had to put extra money into the Pista. So Pista, actually, I had to put a much bigger deposit. That was what, 15-20%, something like that?
20.
So it all gets quite expensive, to be honest with you. And people say, why do you finance your car? Why don't you cash buy? Well, actually, and I don't, if you had £1 million sat in the bank and you wanted a car for 300k, 400k, whatever it is, and you can put that £1 million into a fund that's making 10-12% a year, or if you're really smart, more than that, and you can just tie up maybe 30 grand of it in the car that you're going to run around in and it's going to lose money. To my mind, you're better off just financing the car and keeping the cash flow coming and putting that money into a fund or various investments, whatever it is, property, or maybe not these days, depending on where you're buying. But you're better off a lot of the time just keeping the cash flow going and keeping that in reserve, because you never know what's around the corner. If you spend everything on your car and then things go to crap and your income goes down, you can be left in quite a tight spot. And maybe the car market goes through a rough patch and that depreciates loads and you've got no cash in the pot. You're going to feel pretty silly. But if you've still got a couple $100 grand sat there, then to my mind, again, it comes down to mentalities, but that's why I do it. And I physically couldn't afford to cash buy everything anyway. I'd like to get that in at this stage. What else to say to people at this point? Should we encourage people to go and finance cars and get into debt for cars? I've often been accused of being irresponsible. If you will, it's going to be totally your call.
Well, the thing is, the lenders will not lend if it's not appropriate. And,
that's exactly it.
I speak to a lot of people on a daily basis, and you know, some people are ambitious. They want to buy the best cars that they can. Sometimes they're being a little bit too ambitious. So it's about helping them understand what is in the art of the possible and what may be better to consider.
Yeah.
Because again, I know what the lenders will and will not, you know, allow. And as I say, it has to be responsible lending.
Yeah.
And you know, it needs to be right for the client. And I often, whilst it may cost me money by not doing a deal, it's not a problem. I'd rather not do the deal than do the wrong deal for the client. That's really how I go about things.
Ethics, my lad. Ethics.
Exactly that. Exactly.
Helps you sleep at night.
Exactly.
Right then, we're coming back into Redline. I just want to touch on this car very, very quickly. I'm amazed. It feels very, very responsive. The steering is very direct. The throttle response is fantastic. It makes a lovely noise. The pickup on it is extremely fast. It's got a lot of torque mid-range. It's just good. And back there we've got back seats. I'm very impressed with one of these cars, and I might have to add a Lusso to the garage at some point, and specifically a Lusso T. As I've said, if you are interested in this particular car, it's literally just coming to stock into Redline. Should be on the site by now. I'll leave the link to it below. If you do want to do any car finance stuff, or follow Darren on Instagram,
yeah, please do.
I will leave his details. You can follow him. He covers a lot of my antics, actually. A lot of the stuff that I do is on Darren's Instagram, and you'll see sort of a sneak peek behind the scenes of my money spending habits. But anyway, hopefully you found that helpful. I wanted to put out a video anyway because I wanted to cover a few bits and bobs and get someone in the know to talk about it, because it's all very well coming from me. Shut up! Put it in neutral. Yeah, thank you very much as always.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming along.
Appreciate the business.
And you'll see why we're at Redline, because it involves the SV. It actually involves you. You've had a hand in this.
Yes.
And it involves a chap called Phil Dixon, who I'll leave his Instagram on the screen as well. So make sure you check that out. The video is on the channel right now, and that is one not to be missed. Anyway, for now, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, blah, 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 and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.